Hello there. Good to be with you. Let's take some time to settle into our practice, adjusting the body, inviting it to find a posture that is helpful, wakeful, relaxed. Maybe the eyes close, maybe the eyes stay open and the gaze just rests somewhere relatively neutral. The focus softens. Inviting the body into the space of awareness, just to notice the sensations, especially any sensations which feel grounding, the contact of the feet with the floor or the bottom with the chair or cushion or whatever you're sitting on, the contact of hands with each other or with the legs, contact of the clothing with the skin. Noticing which sensations in your experience in this moment support a sense of contact and connectedness, stability and ground, and just making some room in the awareness for these sensations to be felt, not instead of anything else, just as well as also these, the ground, the body, the breath, energizing and softening as it flows in and out. Coming into this mode where we can receive what's here, we can notice without it being a task. None of it has to be changed, pressed, resisted. We can just notice what's here and choose within it all where to turn the attention, what feels helpful to rest the mind on as a place of refuge, ease. So coming into this mode where there isn't a task hanging over you, there isn't a thing you're supposed to be feeling or doing or working out. Just waking up to life in all its mystery and wonder as it unfolds itself before your eyes. We are now in the month of Adar Rishon. We're told that Adar, be it 1 month or as in this special year, 2, that Adar is a time of increasing joy. Our question for today is, what can the moon teach us about joy? We might first think of joy as the burning brilliance of the sun. And at times, joy surely can have this blazing quality. The moon, meanwhile, may have a kind of gentler texture, softer, aware of the darkness, And yet, at the same time as it knows this darkness close by, the darkness of the space around it, the moon is also able to reflect the light of the sun. It does this to varying degrees. Sometimes it can reflect it fully, so much that the whole moon is itself radiant. Sometimes it's more of a mixture, part light, part darkness. Sometimes it's just a sliver of light that the moon captures and passes on. And at times the light fades altogether and then begins to return. The moon teaches us to stay open to the possibility of brightness, of joy, of lightness and gladness. It teaches us not to force things, not to force it to be a different time than it is. The moon has its periods, its seasons. And not to be too single-minded either, says the moon. Don't forget that even where there is great darkness, there is also light. Not instead of one or the other, but as well as. As well as the darkness surrounding the moon, she also catches the rays of light from the sun. The moon is broad and wide enough to receive even a sliver of sunlight, present of joy. It doesn't have to be the whole thing, although at times it is. The moon doesn't insist on the joy being her own. Just for it to be out there is enough. She is able to reflect the joy that is in the world, in the universe, even if it is not at the center of her world right away. the bird song, the blossom, the seasonal renewal, a child's laughter, pure and whole, this sip of tea, this joke, this moment of relief or word of wisdom, this gesture of kindness, patience, generosity, just for these to be out there in the space. May we be like the moon, flexible, agile, nimble, open and porous enough to absorb the light that is around, however subtle or far off it may seem. The moon reflects light that originates 93 million miles away. She doesn't spurn it for not being near enough. Her awareness is boundless. And so she is receptive to light anywhere. She shares the universe with everything. And so every joy is her joy too. May we practice and live similarly, alive to the quieter, gentler textures of joy in daily life. If we really let them land, they will be passed on through us, just by allowing the joy to be here too, as well as not instead of, just allowing it to be here. I begin to reflect it, to shine like the moon. And perhaps when we do so, we may see that the light, the joy, sprinkled throughout the universe, now there, now here, that it is all of one nature, of one source, that we are all moons, reflecting the same divine light. We don't have to generate it ourselves, just to be open enough to let it land, illuminate us, and shine on. As we say to the divine in the Psalms, "Ba'orcha nireh or," in your light, by your light, we see light. In your joy, the joy that doesn't seem to begin with me, but which I allow to be here in the space, which I allow to touch me, shine on me. In this joy, I see joy. We channel the divine capacity to be wide enough so that what is difficult has all the room it needs, and what is joyful has all the room it needs too. There's room for everything in the boundless field that is awareness, that is creation. Isn't there something quintessentially Jewish about this coexistence of sorrow and joy? About this coexistence of darkness and light, which the moon instructs us in? As we come toward the end of this Hitbonenut practice, I invite you to set an intention to stay open to catching the slivers of joy, perhaps at the edges of awareness, perhaps right under your nose, to letting the space be wide and flexible enough to not just be one thing or another, to letting joy be here too, as best you can, taking your cue from the moon. Thank you for your practice. Wishing you well.